Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Cooling Solution Show with your boy, James Rousseau, Sr., a.k.a. Trig, right here on Holy Culture Radio. Now, listen, just last week, I was telling y'all about my vacation. I was talking to y'all about the value of slowing down, coming off electronics, detaching from email, social, and whatnot. You say, oh, well, what are you going to do with your time then? I'll tell you what you can do. One, you can just enjoy the person you're with or the people that you're with. Hang out with your spouse, your loved ones, etc. Eat some meals, even some things maybe you shouldn't have, but it's vacation. You know what I mean? Watch some sunsets, watch some sunrises, have more time of prayer, but you can also dive into some books. And I was telling y'all that I dove into a new book from my brother. Before I tell you who he is, let me tell you about what he does. He is a pastor of Crossover Church in Florida. He's the author of several books. He's a CHH artist with more than 9 albums to his pen. He's a major event promoter and mover in our culture. He go by by the way, let me tell you, he's also an actor. I didn't realize that before. So let me introduce my brother and friend, Pastor Tommy D. Kyllonen. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on, Trig? Good to see you, bro.
It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. So I'm not playing when I tell you that cracking this book during my vacation was a treat, man, for so many reasons.
Cool.
One, for me, it even well, before I jump all into that, man, let me give folks a chance to get to know who you are, just in case they don't know you, man. I introduced you as a pastor, an author, a CHH artist, man, an event promoter, the holder of Flavor Fest for years upon years, church planter, right? Because now you've got crossover in Atlanta. And so what's one thing that when I read all those things off, man, a lot of people can look you up on Google, but what's one thing they might not be able to find about you that only some of the people really closest to you know, man? What's an interesting fact?
Man, you like laid it all out. You even said the actor piece. You were like, oh, yeah, that's something that I've done a little bit of that's been a little bit low key, except for the
Yeah.
people that have ended up, coming across it. Um, man, so like I say, a new hobby that I got into the last year or so, last 2 years is kayaking.
Is
I
that
re
right?
I really like kayaking, man. I went
Huh.
here in Florida. We have some natural springs, and I went to this natural spring and went kayaking, and it's just so relaxing, man, to get out
Yeah.
in nature, and the water is clear to the bottom. You can see the fish, and there's, like, manatees swimming next to you and stuff, and, I
Mm.
mean, it's just and then you can get out and go swimming in it. It's a little
Yeah.
cold because it's spring water, but, man, just so that's been something that I've been trying to do. There's this really nice spring that's like a little less than an hour away. So I try to get away, go up there, at
Nice.
least every now and then, take my daughters, take somebody I'm mentoring, and take them.
Right.
My mentor actually was the first one that took me kayaking, and even took me paddleboarding last year. Man, I never paddleboarded before. That was kind of cool as well.
Man, that's dope.
So
That's
always
dope.
trying new things, man. You got to keep trying new things, man.
That's right. That's right, man. It's so funny because I was watching, we were watching a thing last weekend on extreme kayaking. Just so
Okay.
happened to be watching the show on Netflix, man, and cats were going over cliffs
Oh
that were about
nah,
20, 50 feet, and we were, man, you gotta be kidding, you know what I
yo,
mean?
that's
So,
crazy. Going over like a
yeah,
waterfall.
yes, man, going over these huge waterfalls. So,
I have to
but
look that
yeah,
up, bro.
yeah. So as I mentioned, man, you do so many things and have done so for years upon years, continuing to kind of elevate in what you do. A lot of times when we see folks, unfortunately, we see the highlight reels, right? We don't get to see the valleys and we don't get a full picture of the
Yeah.
story. What would you say has gotten you to this point, man, where you're thriving in the way that you're thriving?
Man, I would say really it's just consistency, faithfulness, and always wanting to innovate
Mm,
because you can't
mm,
stay in the same spot. And
yeah.
I mean, we could see what happened the last couple of years with the pandemic. You
Mm.
got a lot of people that, you know, just kept trying to do it the same way. And man, we had to make some
Yeah.
changes like
Yeah.
really fast. And so because our church regularly is always innovating and doing things different, like
Hmm.
we were able to move quickly and we thrived during the pandemic, even though we were
Yeah.
closed,
Yeah.
for like 6 months. We just did a lot of very creative stuff online, doing a lot of outreaches in the community. During
Hmm.
that time, did a grocery drive through, a back to school drive through. We just utilized every tool, every relationship, and leveraged those things to make an impact. And as a
Yeah.
result, like our church actually grew when we reopened, just had so many new people coming. And today, like we're larger than we were before the pandemic
Mm,
with our
that's good.
in-person attendance. And just so many other metrics, but that's because we, shifted and moved.
Yes.
And even with Flavorfest, man, like Flavorfest wouldn't still be around if
Mm-hmm.
we weren't always trying new things, if we weren't switching it up, if we would have just been doing the same exact formula. Because we
Yes.
watched a lot of other events in our movement that went for maybe about 10 years, and they kind of just stayed the same,
Right.
and then
Right.
eventually they kind of fizzled out. But we're constantly trying to stay relevant, do things different, add some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
take some stuff away, switch it up, tweak it, kind of keep our ear to the pulse of the culture and what's working and what's not working.
Right. Right.
What you did yesterday might not work tomorrow anymore. And sometimes people are still trying to run the same play, and the time has passed for that.
Yes.
And that's okay. God's got new things every day. So, but sometimes we're creatures of habit and we don't like to change, but we gotta push ourselves. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why we're still moving forward.
That's dope, man. That's good. And I mean, last year was such a good outward expression of that in terms of taking Flavor Fest on the road to the different cities, man. New
Yeah,
York
first time
was,
to ever do that, bro.
yeah,
22 years into it.
yeah.
And we're doing it again next year, by the way.
Ah, that's good. That's good. There's a prelude right there. There you
Yeah,
go,
we
y'all.
already
There you
got
go.
we're mapping it out. No
Yeah.
no details we can tell you yet because we're locking everything in, but
Love it. Love it,
probably
brother.
sometime in January we should be announcing the
That's
official
good.
dates and cities.
That's good. That's good. Well, let's go into this book. So I have to say from the onset, I'm not a sneakerhead per se, right?
Yeah.
But I just want to say that to let people know you don't have to be a sneakerhead to enjoy this book. Gotta be the shoes. It is, first of all, it's laden with bars, bro. I mean, there are so many bars in this book in terms of
Thank you, bro.
one liner, two liners that just give you that. I need to underline that and make some notes next to it of why it's impacted me that way, right?
Mm,
And then there's just great thematical gems, man. I think the sequencing of first of all, if you're going to buy the book, folks, I'm gonna just tell you this right, and I have no economic interest in this. I'm just trying to help your experience. Okay, one, get the full package that comes with the shoe box. There's something about that packaging and everything that just leads you in, and you want to engage. Yes, man, you want to engage with the whole thing. So when the shoe box came, and thank you, brother, for signing my book and everything. I'm gonna tell you, just spend a couple extra dollars, get the full experience, right? Because then it makes you want to jump in the book and just go through. And the book is laid out so well. And I know you've done this with all your products. First of all, let me just say that and give you your flowers, man. You're thoughtful about your products and the way
thank you,
people
bro.
can experience your products. But to go through and almost be taught, right, what sneaker culture is like in terms of the styles and things that drop when and how
Mhm.
they're approached and the colorways and all those different things, right? Again, you don't have to be a sneakerhead, but two, um, those themes and how you walk through the book sequentially using the metaphor from sneaker culture to spiritual walk, brother, was just eloquently done. So I got
Yeah,
some
thank you,
questions I
bro.
want to dive into, man. We're not going to get through all of them, just given the time,
Sure.
but I'm just going to write down, throw you some questions. And before I even do that, let me ask you this: as you were thinking about this book, starting to pen it, conceptualize it, so on and so forth, what were you focused on in terms of the outcomes you wanted to see?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, like I've been into sneakers since as you read the book, I've been into sneakers. I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard sneakerhead. I don't have like 100 pairs or something. But I've always been into sneakers and fashion. And I
Mm.
think most of us that are into hip hop at least have some fashion sense. So we,
Mm-hmm.
we can appreciate it. Because really that's what sneaker culture is. It's a big form of fashion and art that's on your feet.
Right.
But so for me, man, I know that it ties in with hip hop culture,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, it's just another way to connect with people and reach people. And if I could talk about this topic and draw people in, then I could still tie in
Yes.
spiritual concepts and point them to Christ. How could I do that? And I came up with the idea, like already the packaging came to my head, like I'm gonna put it in a shoe
Mm.
box and with custom paper inside where you open
Yeah.
it like you're opening shoes, and I want to do a full color book with pictures of kicks, and we're gonna do a photo shoot for it. So I'm thinking of all these like creative
Mm. Mm.
ideas, and
Mm.
I had
Mm.
some
Mm.
concepts, but I'm like, how can I really tie this in? How can I
Yes.
really point people to Christ? So it was about a year ago where I really sat down and started to pray about it and dive in and study what does the Bible have to really say about feet and
Mm.
shoes and
Mm.
steps and pathways. And as I began to really dive into that, man, I began to like line up like the blueprint for the book. You know, this,
Gotcha.
like you said, sequentially, it's laid out nicely, and the Lord really kind of gave me that order
Mm,
to kind of put it together. And so, yeah, man, I've actually been at a couple sneaker shows
hmm
in the past month or so, having a booth, reaching that culture, and it's been
Nice.
super dope. I was at one this past Saturday, got to pray with several people,
Mm,
gave cards out for the church,
man, that's
you
dope.
know, got to just talk to so many people, and yeah, sold some stuff. People are like,
Yeah.
you know, it stands out because ain't nobody else at the sneaker show have a book, and
Yes.
a book in a box, you know, and
Yeah.
we have some
Yeah.
customs that go with it as well, some custom Jordan 1s that we made. So, like, people are just like, "Whoa, what is this?" You
Yeah.
know, so it just great gives some great opportunities to connect and point them to Christ.
Man, that's good. That's good. Well, I mean, I'm going to just start, man, and going kind of sequentially as I
Let's
read
go.
and took notes. One of the things you said was, basically posed the question, how much is enough? Really, that delicate balance between wants and needs. And I'm gonna
Yeah,
quote you. You said, "The fuller my closet got, the emptier my heart was." Man,
yeah.
elaborate on that, bro.
Yeah, man. So I share in chapter 1 how, you know, I grew up in Philly, grew up lower income. So when I discovered fashion and shoes and I was able to save up money and, you know, buy some stuff, I felt that became like an identity for me.
Mm,
And as I got a little older, I started working in retail and I started to steal. And so I
mm,
was stealing like stuff all the time.
mm.
And you know, the chapter 1's called I Need Those. And that was like every time something new would come in at the store, like, oh, I need those.
Right, right.
I need every color of that hoodie. You know, I need those jeans in both colors. And
Mm-hmm.
so, anyways, man, yeah, like the fuller my closet got, the emptier my heart was. It didn't fulfill the thing I thought I was looking for.
Yeah,
You know, I was wearing clothes, dressing up to impress people that I didn't know that didn't even care, you
yeah.
know, at the end of the day. And so that's when I really it was kind of like a wake-up call after I stole a $400 jacket. And my friend, I had it for about a month. We were at the mall. I was wearing it, and he loved the jacket. He borrowed it a few times. He's like, "Yo, man, we're at the sneaker store, and we're looking at these Fila boots. That's what Filas were big back in the '90s." And he was like, "Yo," he's like, "I'll buy you these Filas right now if you give me your jacket and trade." And I was like, "I bet."
Mm,
And the shoes were $60. The
mm.
jacket was 400. So it was not a good trade.
It's not a good trade. Yeah.
But it was just like, I just wanted the next new thing. I'd already wore
Yes.
the jacket 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
and it was cool, but okay, now let me get this next thing. And
Mm,
that's when I realized like, yo, I got a problem. Like this is what's going on? What's missing? And
yeah.
so material stuff is never going to do it for you.
That's good, bro. And I've heard that quote said a couple times, right? There's a God-sized hole in all of us that
Yeah.
no one can fill but God, but we try to fill it with other things. And until we let God in for real. And I think, you say this in the first chapter and then you bring it back later to me with almost like a resolution piece. You say God made us all with a purpose and a calling. And I think that's so important to spend a few minutes on because I feel like we're in I don't know, a season more than ever, man, where one, I'm happy that we recognize mental health and all the challenges associated with it. I'm glad that we're
Yeah.
trying to remove that stigma of people getting help for it, right?
Yeah.
But
Getting counseling.
at the same time, the numbers keep moving in the wrong direction,
You're right.
right? And if you look at our youth and let's just call it hopelessness as a metric, right? It's horrible, man. So I think this is something that I think can help people if they can grapple onto it. I talk about purpose a lot, but I welcome you, man, with that, particularly because you also come back to it in the soul restoration chapter where you say once you are all in, your creator will customize your spiritual shoes and
Mm.
bless your souls with unique branding, man. So just talk about purpose and that calling for a second, man.
Yeah, man. I share this in the book as well that I was hesitant to go all in with the Lord because there was a part of me for a while that, you know, I grew up in church. I did, but there was a part of me that felt like, man, if I give my life to the Lord, I'm going to lose a part of myself.
Mm,
Now, I knew I was going to lose the sinful part, and I was ready to let that go because I had already experienced some of
right.
the devastating effects of sin and consequences, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I felt like, but man, I'm gonna lose my style, my
Mm,
flavor, my fashion, my music, my all the things that I felt like was a part of me. I got to the point though I was ready to let it go.
hmm.
Um, but man, then God kind of gave me the green light. I'm not gonna give it away. If you're gonna get the book, you could read what happened. But at the end of the day, like I want to encourage people and challenge people because a lot of people that listen to hip hop or from urban culture can be hesitant to go all in with the Lord because they think then they're gonna have to give up like a lot of their personality of who they are. Like
Right.
God's definitely gonna transform you and change you in many, many ways. But
Yes.
there's a lot of neutral things. And the shoes you wear, the style, the fashion, your flavor, a lot of those things are neutral things. And
Hmm.
that's the way that God wired you. And so I just want to like encourage people. Maybe you've never seen that because for me, I'd never seen somebody that was my age, that was passionate about God, that looked like me, like
Right.
dressed and style wise. I thought I was gonna have to start wearing like, suits and button downs and hard bottom shoes and listen to old school
Right.
choir music or something,
Right.
gospel choir music. And, but I just never seen. And now obviously we've created these lanes. You've done an incredible job, bro, with moving from an artist to now like running this radio network, man, that
Thank you.
is encouraging so many people like, oh, yo, there's Christian hip hop that's out there. And
Hmm.
I can still listen to that sound and that flavor, but it can be edifying and I can play
Yes.
it in front of my kids
Right.
and
Exactly.
my grandma
Exactly.
and everything, right?
Yep.
And so, yeah, so just encourage people out there listening, like God has a customized plan for you. And there's some unique things that he put inside of you and he created you with preferences and passions and creatively, some of you listening to this are creatives. And man, you can use that for God's glory and you can still
Mm,
be you. And you're going to be a better version of you.
that's strong. That's strong, bro. You talk about too culture a bit, and one of the things I think you said is we're almost like professional presenters
Yeah.
when it comes to social. You said we rather look good than feel good. The outside can look amazing, but the insole of our heart is flat and worn out. And you're going to talk about anxiety, depression, addiction, and things such as that. I'm curious, is some of that inspired to discuss, given your role as a pastor and some of the ongoing conversations you have with
Yeah.
folks in coaching and mentoring? Talk about that a little bit and the realities of that, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, man. As a pastor, the last couple years, the amount of people coming to us that are struggling with anxiety and depression has just, man, it's skyrocketed. And then on top of that, those of us that are parents and so many parents coming to me
Mm,
like they
mm,
might not be struggling with it, but their teenagers are,
yeah.
their kids are. And me and my wife have two teenagers, and they never struggle with that stuff pre-pandemic, but there's just something about that season of being disconnected socially, being in front of your screen so much. I just don't think God wired us to like we're meant to be in community and
Right.
around people. And this whole thing even came up like people saying like, "Oh, I got social anxiety." Like I didn't even know that was a thing. Like,
Right. Right.
and my kids even had that like for a while
Mm,
because once everything started to get back in public, they're like, I don't want to go to church. There's too many people. I don't want to go to the
mm,
mall.
mm,
I don't want to sit down in a restaurant. It's too many people. It just gives me anxiety. Like, what are
mm.
you talking about? And for me, I'm an extrovert.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love to be around people. So during the pandemic, I
Right.
was fiending. I'm like,
You,
we gotta get back to
right.
community,
You're
man. This
craving
is
to get back.
terrible.
Yeah.
But so yeah, man, I can't put my finger on exactly what happened, but I think there was some stuff that happened in people's wiring of
Yeah.
their minds. And so I did a lot of study on that. We've done some series on it at the church.
Mm,
Pastor Craig Rochelle has a great book called Winning the War on Your Mind. And really how it talks about how God's created our brain in such a special way, man. We can rewire it,
hmm.
if we focus on it.
Yes.
Because if you keep thinking the same thoughts for a season, it creates a pathway neurologically in your
Yes.
brain. And so next time a situation comes up, automatically that pathway is there. It's the least path of resistance for you to think that thought again. So
That's
we all
right.
know people that are like just negative all the time, or they're drama filled, or they're always, well, they got these pathways in their mind that they automatically, that's how they've kind of wired their brain. But you can, like, it's scientifically proven, you can rewire your
Rewire.
brain
Yeah.
if you think other thoughts and you stop thinking those other thoughts, and those other pathways will literally like grow in with
Right.
brain, cells and matter, and you can create these new pathways. It's hard. It takes some time. Just like when you start working out, you're sore, but later it feels better. And in a few weeks, you keep working out, you're not as sore anymore. You're getting stronger and you're building muscle mass, and the brain is a muscle. And in the
Absolutely.
same way, like, I think we got to be intentional even about the thoughts we're thinking, the people we're around, the environments. And if you're always around negativity, man, it's going to cause you to be more negative.
Yeah. That's so good because, there's two things I want to make sure people don't miss. One, God has created us in his image and likeness and given us the ways to
Yeah.
succeed, you know what I mean? Based on what
Okay.
he's planning for you to do, your purpose and calling. But two, one of the things you just said is, man, that ability to rewire. If rewiring sounds too deep for you, change your habits, right?
Yeah.
And you can do it. But Pastor Tommy says something that's so important. You have to be intentional.
Mm.
It's not going to happen by happenstance. You have to be intentional and really want to do that, bro. That's so good. Let me ask you this: for the given the experience you've had in this space, always believe pastors carry an extra burden. Talk to me about self-care. After you do all of that,
Yeah.
right? Pastoring the kids, helping them, then the parents probably want some insight. Hey, help me help my child that you talk to, right? Give me some best
Yeah.
practices, so on and so forth. And then you have other leaders you're responsible for, and you have that. Then what do you do for yourself, man, to care for you?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you some practical things before I even jump into the spiritual stuff, but it's all
Yeah.
spiritual. It all connects. It all ties together. Uh, Man, I'll just say simply, you got to get your rest.
Mm.
Like, as a leader, we run
Yes.
hard,
Hmm.
and you got to get your rest. And I know some leaders that they just don't get enough rest, and you're wearing yourself out. I mean, we're like one of these, bro. We got a battery inside of us, and
Yes.
we got to plug that battery in,
Yes.
and we got to recharge. So, man, you need to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And some leaders are trying to like be hardcore and get 5 or 6 every night. And it's just, and yeah, your body can eventually adapt to that.
Hmm.
And I know some leaders that just run like that, but like, God made us, our bodies, to also rest and recharge. That's going to age you a lot quicker.
Yeah.
People like,
Yeah.
man, how you look so young? Well, I get like 8 hours of sleep every night, most of the
Hmm.
time.
Right.
I take care of myself. I drink a lot of water. I don't drink soda.
Yeah.
I don't drink sugary drinks.
Yeah.
I mean, I go work out. I eat clean. I
Hmm.
pay attention to all those kind of things. I take vitamins. I go to a doctor, a holistic doctor, a couple times a year and get blood work and
That's
check on my
good.
levels. And I'm working on things to make sure I'm staying where I need to, man, because I want to be at optimal health.
Yes.
Because if you're not at optimal health, you can't move and function in the same way. You got brain fog, you're
Yep.
tired, you get lazy. And when you get tired, you know what you do? You start scrolling on this,
Start scrolling.
and you're
Start
not being
scrolling.
productive. You're wasting time. You're getting sucked in.
Absolutely.
You're comparing yourself. You're getting depressed. This is why people get depressed right here. A
Bro,
lot of times
listen,
they're
that
looking at everybody's
device.
highlight reel and being like, "My life sucks." you
Absolutely.
know?
I saw the most scary video to me the other day, man. It was a brother who had figured out how to, you can have Siri do voice prompts, right? And
Yeah.
so what he did was figure out and was teaching people in this video how to make it go to the next video and scroll for you. So that way he could lay under his covers, keep his hands and everything under the covers and just say, next,
Wow.
next, next. And he would just watch videos for hours, right? And just be in this, so in other words,
Yo, that's
listen,
crazy.
you know what I mean?
I gotta see that.
You can snuggle up and get comfy and still control your socials. Like, oh my God, we don't want this. We don't want this. Man, listen, I know I gotta get you out of here soon. So let me try to wrap up with a few, brother. One of the things you said to this point, man, and I think this goes further, from a dopamine's point of view, having things is uninteresting. It's only getting things that matter.
Yeah.
I gotta repeat that one, man. This is,
Yep.
man, I want y'all listening to get this for real. Like, underline, circle it, highlight it, whatever you do. From a dopamine's point of view, having things is uninteresting. It's only getting things that matter.
Mm.
That's a chase life, bro.
Yep. It is, bro, and that's how so many people are living. And listen, if you're listening to this, you don't know what dopamine is. It's a hormone that your body creates when something triggers that's exciting. Even seeing that you got a like or a comment, that can trigger a little bit of dopamine. That's why you keep going back to this. They have done studies. They want to keep you on their platform as long as possible, and the
Absolutely.
likes and the comments and the hearts and the different things triggers a little bit of dopamine. But dopamine is never about how much you have, it's just about how much you can keep getting, and it's a never ending chase. They've done scientific studies on it, and it's never going to you're never going to arrive. You're always going to need another hit, and a lot of
Absolutely.
times the next hit has got to be bigger. So that very
Absolutely.
first pair of sneakers that you buy, when you open up that box and you're like, oh man, you smell the new shoes, like, oh man, this is amazing. Well, now you got a whole closet full of shoes, and you can't even get that same feeling again.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
you're always like, it's always the next thing. We were talking about, we
Totally.
went on a cruise, but the first cruise is great. But now, like, okay, you got what's the next?
What's
Oh
the
man,
next
they
one?
got the new
Right.
bigger boat with the
Right.
big water slides and all this crazy stuff.
Right. And you want to plan it now so you have something to look forward to, right? I mean,
Yep.
I'll tell you this short story, bro. So I was working at Chase, man, with several of us, and what's so funny is when I think about this is we were all senior vice presidents, right? But this one Christmas came where one of the guys wanted to get the new PlayStation or whatever it was, and you know how it is during that time, you just can't find
Mhm.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
somehow this becomes our mission every day. Around 10 o'clock, we stop in each other's offices. Hey, have you found some way to get it? Call the GameStop. Call us that and that,
Yeah.
bro. This was going on for like 2 weeks. We just gotta find it. We find a
Mhm.
store that has it. We all jump in the car together, leave the office, run down the highway. We get there, it's gone. We're like, oh, next time we call the store and I say to the guy, listen, we are on our way. What's your name? He tells me name, Harold, whatever. Harold, I got an extra 10 for you, 20 for you, whatever. Hold it. My name's James. We come in. My boy's got to get it. Pastor Tommy, I'll tell you this. We go to the store, we get it, we get in the car, and then we're almost like, what are we going to do now?
Yeah.
Seriously, we were
The
driving
chase
back
is
to the
over. We got
office.
it.
Right. We were driving back to the office. We should be like happy. Andrew's kid is getting it. But we were, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Right? Classic
What's the next
example, bro.
conquest?
Classic example. Exactly. What's the next conquest? I want to end on this one in the soul restoration chapter because I'm skipping a couple things because you do a great job of diving into the realities of sin, contextually talking about Satan as the music director. And I love how you say, listen, he's the executive producer, right? And
Yep.
so this was his job and he's good at it. And so you shouldn't be shocked that a lot of things that we hear are filled with evil and things that are counter to the God we want to serve.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then you go into the gospel shoes section and talk about what those shoes look like on us. And then you talk about soul restoration. And I want to end with this last quote from you. Once you are all in, your creator will customize your spiritual shoes and bless your souls with unique branding. And the note I wrote next to that was, man, to constantly be thankful and accepting of that uniqueness that God has given me without comparison,
Yeah.
right? And that's the key word, without comparison, but also to celebrate my brothers and sisters' unique branding and gifts and talents, even if I don't understand it sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. But to celebrate it, knowing that God gave it to him, man.
Yeah, man. And man, I celebrate you, bro. You are a unique, one of a kind person that the gifts and talents and life
Oh, thank you,
experience,
brother.
education, all the stuff that God's put in you. And you were able to create this thing that we are having this interview on right now, man, to get out to
Yeah.
so many people, man. And
Yes,
so
sir.
that's beautiful, bro.
Yeah. So, man, I just want to thank you for the book. Thank you for all the service. Thank you for the several books. Is this the third or fourth? I can't recall.
Man, believe it or not, bro, this is book 7.
This is book 7.
It's
See?
book 7. Yeah.
Last year was
Yeah.
Frames, right?
Yeah, last year was Frames, and now I'm kind of in a groove as a writer. I wrote my first book in 2007, Unorthodox. It came out
Mhm.
through Zondervan. Then I waited until like 2015 to do my second book, and then I just kind of like transitioned from doing music as much to writing and got in a groove. And at first, man, writing was hard. I'm like, man, I'd rather do an album all day, But now I've really kind of found my writing voice, and yeah, I enjoy it, man. And it's the next season of my life, you know.
That's good, bro.
So
That's good.
yeah, bro.
Well,
And
well,
yeah,
listen. Go
I'm
ahead.
so passionate about Gotta Be the Shoes that if you didn't know, I'm giving it away for free. So you guys can get it at freeshoesbook.com. And
Mm,
you not only get Gotta Be the Shoes, but we throw in the Frames book as well. So you get both books for free, and both books have a master class that goes with it. So there's a video session with each chapter.
mm.
And yeah, I'm the
That's
publisher
dope.
of it, so I could choose to give it away for free.
That's
The
so
only thing
dope.
you got to pay for is the shipping. That's it. And then if you want to upgrade and get like the cool custom box, and you know, there's some other things you could get. Like you could go ahead and do that. Like you know, Trig recommends the box.
Get the
It is super
box. I'm
dope.
trying to tell
It's a
you,
piece
get
of
the
art.
box.
It's a
I'm
piece
trying
of
to tell
art,
you,
man.
get the
But
box.
yeah, but freeshoesbook.com has got the details. And yeah, man, we've been getting it out to hundreds and hundreds of people the last few
Yeah.
weeks. It's been awesome.
Get the hey, people, get the box. They even ask you for the shoe size so they can put that on there custom for you. Okay. And so I'm telling you right now, I'm holding up my copy, which he autographed for me. By the way, you can add a couple of dollars and have Pastor T autograph it for you. Get that. And just the man, I'm sorry to brag on you, bro. Just the layout and quality of this book, man. This is
By the
this
way,
is one of those.
that
Go
page you
ahead.
just showed, did you see
Yeah.
what that had on it?
Yeah, I did. Yes. Brother E,
Yeah,
man. Absolutely.
dedication right there to my guy,
Dedication.
Brother E.
Yeah, but all through the book, man, just showing some of the treasures that many of you sneakerheads have enjoyed over the years. And again, connecting it to the most important thing in your life, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Pastor T, love you, brother. Thank you for being here.
Oh, you too, man.
And thank you, brother. See you
Thanks
soon.
for having me. Peace.
Yep.